are your pieces of advice for someone who can do it, who might want to start that journey of self-discovery, of releasing toxic energy? How does a person begin, especially if they're in the throes of like depression or anxiety and they just can't get out of bed?
That's a wonderful question. And I think it all starts with, of course, awareness, but exactly what I said before. I think the first step before you even join a program, because that takes a lot of courage to even show up in a space with other women that you
Mhm.
may or may not know and share your deep, dark stories, or even just to be there and hear, right? To say yes to that type of journey.
Mm.
But I know what it's like, you said, to get out of bed. I know what it feels like to not want to get out of bed. And
Mhm.
it's every time that word even comes about in my mind, I just remember a guy that I was dating. And it's funny how people's stories really stick with you, even if you know they're not true, but they're like somewhat traumatizing because it really hit home. And I just remember I was dating this guy, I think it was when I lived in Orlando, maybe like 15 years ago. And I sleep late. I still do, actually. But he judged that as, he said, "Are you depressed?" And he
Mm.
goes, "Because I don't know anybody that sleeps that late."
Mm.
And it really, I never thought of myself. I wasn't on the path then to even know or acknowledge myself as someone that deals with depression or the reason why, I like to sleep till 2 o'clock. I mean, I've just
Mhm.
always been a night owl. So I'm like, well, I'm just making that up,
Right.
during the morning when other people get up early. I'm just not a morning bird, I'm kind of a night owl.
Right.
And you say a lot of creatives, like, that's when they create,
Yes.
these bubbling minds, these authors, these poets, these musicians, right? So I've always
Absolutely.
just kind of put myself in that camp. But I think it starts the very first step with just allowing yourself. And this is something I've only done recently. So I'm saying this as a first step. Like, I wish I would have done this sooner because it's really brought so much clarity in
Mm.
my life as to what, like, I was constantly shaming myself for the way I was feeling. Like, you
Mm.
shouldn't feel, just like you said, oh, it's amazing how you show up and, right, despite what you deal with, like, that was the inner bully within me saying, well, Jessica, you have to fucking show, excuse my French, like, you have to show up for people. Like, you can't disappoint people. You can't, this constant, like, and I know that stems from the way I was raised,
Mm.
tough love. You have to do no matter what. You have to put on a happy face, even if you feel like shit, right?
Mm.
And just so much pressure to constantly perform.
Yes.
And it's only recently, and that's why I say this for anyone that can't even get out of bed, celebrate that.
Yeah.
Like, acknowledge, not celebrate like in a good way, but like love yourself, give
Right.
yourself a hug, tell yourself it's okay that I can't get out of bed today. Maybe
Right.
I just didn't have a good night's sleep. Maybe I'm just dealing with so much, right? And the second thing is, right, love on those parts, as I said earlier. And the second part is find a way to get that out. Like, whatever it is, right? First of all, sometimes we don't even know why. Like I said, sometimes I'm sad and I don't know why. So I question myself constantly. I
Mm.
question, like, simple questions, right? Like, who am I? It's actually the first question I ask all of my guests when they join.
Yes.
I'm sure you listen to my
I
podcast.
love it.
Like,
Yeah.
who is Jen Gates of Siciliano, right? Like, who are you?